Lebanon's caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati has firmly rejected Iranian interference after Iran's parliament speaker expressed readiness to negotiate with France on UN Resolution 1701. Adopted in 2006, the resolution mandates southern Lebanon's border area remain free of weapons or troops, aside from Lebanese state forces. Mikati has emphasized Lebanon's sovereignty in the matter, even in the wake of Israel's actions impacting UNIFIL, which have seen at least 5 peacekeepers injured. Well, for more on these developments, let's turn to Rawad Taha, who joins us now from Beirut. Rawad, an interesting statement from Lebanese caretaker Prime Minister. No involvement from Iran. What do you think the reaction is going to be?
So indeed, this is a very important development here in Lebanon. Perhaps this is the first time that there is some sort of diplomatic rift between Iran and the official government of Lebanon. Now we know Iran's foreign minister was in the city only a few days ago, and he met with Prime Minister Mikati as well as the Speaker of Parliament of Iran. But seeing this statement really brought frustration to the government, especially the caretaker government Prime Minister Najib Mikati. The statement he issued was very clear that Lebanon and its government rejects Iranian interference and does not need any sort of guardianship over the country, and that it is ready to discuss the 1701 resolutions with key allies, including France and others, without direct guardianship by anyone else. So this is indeed a very serious development, the first of its kind perhaps, and the first since the beginning of this war over the past few weeks and over the past year during the war of attrition between Hezbollah and Israel.
And this all comes as we just saw images of Giorgia Meloni right now, the Italian Prime Minister. She's visiting Beirut, the first Western leader to do so since September 30th. And she has a key interest, especially in these developments, because there are so many Italian troops in UNIFIL who are being affected by Israel's aggression. What kind of message do we expect from her?
So she's not going to visit the south, as far as what my sources have confirmed. She will not be visiting any of the Italian battalions located on the southern border between Lebanon and Israel. However, she will be meeting with caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati. Now, this is not her first visit to Lebanon. She met with the caretaker Prime Minister a few months back during the war of attrition between Hezbollah and Israel, back when the war was still limited in the south. Back then, Meloni was trying to de-escalate the situation and trying to push the Lebanese government into a de-escalation and to find some sort of a solution to this crisis, as well as there is the interest in the refugees file. So we know for a fact that Giorgia Meloni is really invested in trying to re-establish connections with the Syrian regime and trying to find a solution for the refugee crisis, be it here in Lebanon or in Syria, to minimize the flood of refugees to Europe. So 2 files that she will be discussing, of course, the status of the war in Lebanon, as well as potential support for Lebanon as a host community for refugees, as well as the latest developments of what's going on in terms of the Italian troops, part of the UNIFIL peacekeeping force, which are caught in the crossfire between Hezbollah and Israel. One last thing to also mention is that Italy has refused, along with other European powers and France, who are part of this peacekeeping force, Israel's request to actually push these peacekeeping force away from the border for the time being, for Israel to conduct its operation. Most European countries have emphasized that it is UNIFIL's duty to stay in those positions in order to make sure that 1701 is indeed implemented. So this is also an important information.
A lot for Meloni to discuss, and thank you so much, Rawad Taha, for just summarizing what we can expect today. Rawad joining us from Beirut.